everybody. I'm Ashley and you're kicking it with Ash. In today's episode, we're talking about that next level adulting when the child becomes the parent. That happened to me about 2 years ago. And I'm not gonna lie, that was a very scary position to walk into, okay? I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where to start. One thing I didn't know, because of my mom and my dad trusted in me to know this information, but they told me and my brother, they've always told us where their important information is, because if anything happens to them, it's important for us to know, right? But there's so much more we need to know. That's just not it. But how would you know if you haven't been through this, okay? So what I want to do is give you the top 3 things that's going to assist you when you become the parent to your parent, right? So number 1, it's important for you to have that support group. When you walk into being in charge of your parent affairs, you're also dealing with a lot of other things, and it can be sometimes daunting and frustrating, and you need that support group, because that support group, 1, has been through it, and they can assist you in maybe figuring out ways to get you through it, but 2, they're a shoulder for you to lean on. And it's important for you to have that shoulder to lean on, because some days are going to be very low and very sad and depressing. You know, for me, I try not to linger on the depressing side of things. I also try to make it funny. And I know some people are like, well, why would you make it funny? Because that's how I need to process it, to get through the fact that the father that I once knew, the strong, independent man that I once knew, now has to depend on his daughter. I don't want to pity him, and I don't want him to think any ill will between us, or that his life is less because he has a stroke. But for me, I have to laugh. And so I share with my support group, and I laugh with them, because that's how I get through it. So however you get through it, just make sure you have that support group. But the key thing I need you to know within having this support group is that you do not have any expectation on loved ones to come in and help. If anybody comes in and volunteers to give you that assistance, take it. Take their ear, their listening ear. Take that break if they're willing to give it to you. But if you're constantly asking somebody, if you're constantly not understanding why they don't want to do it, you've got to let that go. You decided to pick up this position and to assist and do what you need to do to help your parent. But nobody else did that. And it's nobody else's responsibility. And you can't make it their responsibility if they never volunteered to do it. Now, I get it. I know you're like, but that's my sibling. That's my aunt. That's my uncle. I get it. But you have to understand, all they are is family. They're not responsible for taking care of other family members. Technically, you're not either, but you decided to do that, and that's perfectly fine, and I respect you for it, because I did it myself. But the hard reality is, your family is not going to think that way, and you've got to be okay with that. You've got to let it go. It was a hard pill for me to swallow, and I know it's a hard pill for a lot of others too. But once you get past that, it makes it easier for you to get through this, okay? So that's number 1, build your support group. Number 2, you need to have a power of attorney, and you need to have access to your parents' accounts. And this is very vital, because when my dad had his first stroke, right, I needed to know how to, what bills were coming, what's going on, flood insurance, property, I need to know. And it was tricky because he was in the hospital, we did not have a POA, and I had no access. So the best thing I knew was to reset passwords for a lot of them, right? And then for others, I just had to wait for the mail to come in to figure out, oh, this is a bill, oh, here go another bill. It was tricky, but that was the best way for me to get through it until he was awoke and was able to tell me his passwords, right? But when the second stroke hit, and this was in the midst of the pandemic, this took it to a whole nother ballgame. Because when the first stroke hit, he was still in charge. He came back, he was fine, I gave everything back to him. The second stroke, I've been in charge since the second stroke. It's been a year. I take care of all the affairs, every account. So it's very important for you to have a power of attorney, so that way you have easy access and you won't have no issues with any account, or you have access to those accounts and make sure your authorization on the account, okay? Vital. And then number 3, very important, alongside 1 and 2, take care of yourself. And this is really important. The caregiver, the new parent, has to take care of themselves so that you can take care of them. Because they're going to wear you down, and they're going to tire you out. I came home, y'all, literally was at work for 8 hours, came home, And my dad was looking crazy, and I'm like, what is wrong? He was mad, y'all. He was mad at the world. And I couldn't believe it. And I said, Dad, I was at work for 8 hours, and you come home like this? What is going on? Those are the times that I'm like, I have to take a step back, and I go dance. Or I go to the gym. Or I hang out in the backyard. Everybody know my favorite spot right now is my backyard, because I need that peace. I need to rejuvenate myself. I need to be prepared every day from what I'm walking into, because when you're taking care of a parent, every day is a new day. You don't know what you're going to be walking into, and you've got to be ready for that, okay? So those are your top 3 things. Number 1, build your support. Number 2, power of attorney, get access to those accounts. And then number 3, take care of yourself. It's really important for you to do that. I'm here. You can always come talk to me. I love sharing my story, and I would love to hear your stories as well. Just know there's other people out here as well that can assist and be that support for you. You don't have to do this alone. To my parents that this hasn't happened yet, start having those conversations with your children so they know where your important information is. And for my children that may end up having to take care of your parents, be ready, and you start having that conversation as well. Other than that, if you have any questions for me, put it up. I have my email in the description box, so make sure you email me, like, share, and subscribe. I love to hear from everybody, but if I don't, you guys have a great day. Thank you for Kicking It with Ash.